The chapters, please pay close attention to Chapter 7, which was written especially for you, and thank you for your courage. In one of my favorite films, Shadowlands, the actor playing C.S. Lewis says these profound words, "We read so that we know we are not alone. If this book can help any woman, young or old, feel less alone, I consider it more than worth the effort. I dedicate my efforts especially to the next generation of women leaders and teachers as they seek to forge their identities as women who long to fully express their gifts in the local church and to reach the full potential of all God designed them to be. May this book encourage you on your path and let you know that others who have gone before you do get it and cheer you on from the grandstands." Chapter 1. God Didn't Make a Mistake. Standing in the concrete alleyway that bordered the backyard of our 3-bedroom Cape Cod home, I gazed intently at the back of the house. Wearing long red shorts I called pedal pushers and flip-flops I called thongs, the dense humidity of a lazy Chicago summer afternoon hung heavy in the air. From my position in the alley, I could easily observe the backyard of our neighbors on the left, the Johnsons, whose light yellow brick ranch anchored the corner of our suburban street. On the right stood the perfectly square block of freshly mown grass that made up my best friend Janet's backyard. This is where we staged a 3-ring circus, played endless games of Red Rover and Mother May I, and where my loud voice, some described it as bossy, rallied to create all kinds of adventures and productions. However, on this day I stood alone, quiet and unusually reflective for a 10-year-old who liked to talk a lot. For a few brief moments, I stepped outside the skinny, straight-haired little girl I was in the late 1960s and flashed forward to my future. I want my life to be different from the lives of my mother and the other moms in this neighborhood. They clean their houses and take care of their children, waiting until 5:30 when all the husbands drive up the driveways. Is there something wrong with me for being a girl and not really wanting the same kind of life? I love my mom, but I sense that maybe there could be something different for me, and I'm determined to find out. I am smart, and the other kids around here seem to follow me, and I have lots of ideas. I will somehow make a difference in this world. I will. My defining moment of determination was interrupted by the call of my friend Janet, waving me over to play. We returned to our usual summer spot on her concrete stoop and tried to decide what to do next. "What do you want to do?" one of us would ask. "I don't know. What do you want to do?" came the inevitable reply. Oh, the bliss of such unscheduled time, just ripe for that next creative outburst. I returned to the rhythm of play and fun that marked the hot and humid summers of my childhood, protecting in my heart the questions I wrestled with in the alley. Decades later, I now see that my mother was part of a generation that prescribed a distinctly bordered role for her, with nowhere near the options I would eventually embrace. She was really no different from all the other homemakers who lived in the houses on Prospect Avenue. While my mom didn't excel at cooking, sewing, or other domestic tasks, she made a loving home for her family. During grammar school, my sister, brother, and I walked home each day for a leisurely lunch. Mom made us tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwiches that warmed our stomachs while she read stories to us. We'd beg for just one more chapter, filled with the suspense of how the story would turn out, before skipping back to school for the afternoon. Mom was always there, and now, as I look back, I see how I came to depend on her comforting presence. As a young woman who grew up during the Depression years, my mom had no opportunity for higher education, marrying my dad in 1946 just after he returned from flying fighter jets as a Marine in World War II. My mom's course was marked out for her from the start, and she did her best to fulfill the expectations of a full-time homemaker. With a winsome personality, a terrific sense of humor, and a quick mind, my mother would have made different choices had she been born in a different era. After her kids were a little older, she took a job at our local high school, where her natural administrative abilities emerged and were deeply appreciated. She also has gifts of mercy, still visiting the elderly, even though she herself is in her 80s. My mom is most often the life of any party she attends, and countless people call her friend. But on that day in the alleyway, I had not yet witnessed emerging gifts in my mom. I viewed her through a very narrow lens, and I really did speculate at times if something might be wrong with me because I loved to lead, though I didn't use that word, and was often far more interested in watching the Chicago Bears with my dad